Hey folks, welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm going to talk about how you can take your idea. It could be a website, it could be an app, it could be a Play Store app, it could be an iOS app, anything from idea stage to MVP. I've built like multiple iOS apps so far. The very first thing is the idea. You might have an idea or you might not have an idea. If you have an idea, then it means that you know what the problem is, and then you could also know what the potential solution is, which is great. And if you don't know the idea, if you are looking for some ideas for your own, maybe you've seen on Twitter that someone is making X number of money, the very first thing I would recommend is scratching your own itch. Like basically you are going through some kind of problem in your life and you want to create a potential solution for that. The Cabot habit tracker, what I built for iOS, was my first iOS app. Core intention behind that app was simplicity. So I did not find any habit tracker that had a simple functionality where, like most of the app had that GitHub style ticking and marking of stuff. They had like multiple metrics you could track, for example, number of steps taken, number of glasses of water drank, number of pages you read. That is all great for different use cases, but for me, I just needed a tracker which I could, mark as complete or missed. Although there were few trackers which did that, but I felt that the UI could have definitely been improved and the experience could have been much more better. My only sole motivation was to learn from this process where I always wanted to build my own apps, and using AI it was possible. And I just want scratching your own itch, like problem should be personal to you. And if you can do that, there are two main things because of this. You will empathize with that problem more, and you will be motivated to solve that problem actually, because you would be at least that user of the app. So before even starting, right, what I would recommend is do some research where you are understanding the product demand, if there is a distribution strategy already implemented by a competitor, and if a competitor, how successful they are, like how much revenue they're earning. So this could be for both app as well as websites. For some of the tools for the websites, what I use is Google Trends, Google Ads, Ahrefs, SEMrush. I use Google Trends to see if that particular keyword in my industry, what is the interest over time. So Google Ads is where I see like what is the number of searches for particular keyword. So I might see 1,000 to 10,000 monthly searches, which means that it has a good number of searches for that particular keyword. If you're building a iOS app or an Android app, I would recommend researching competitive apps in tools like Sensor Tower or App Magic, where you can easily see what the download metrics are, what the revenue metrics are, and based on those metrics, I would recommend you to build your apps. I'm sharing a couple of prompts where if you just have an idea but you don't know if the solution for this exists or not, you can use the first prompt. If you already have an idea and you want to build certain number of features for this idea, then you can use the second prompt, design. So this is a creative part of the process, and most of the founders have seen they skip this process because they feel that once they have the idea and once they know the potential solution, or even if certain features they are thinking of, they just directly get into the coding part of it, or just start prompting in Cursor or Windsurf or something like that, and just start building the app. Couple of disadvantages here. One is you don't have a clear plan on what you're trying to build. Right, you don't have clarity of user flow, you don't have clarity of who the correct persona for this app is. So what I would recommend is start with paper and pen. First of all, you don't have to be a designer to do this. If you know design, great. Even then, start with paper and pen only, and try to create simple wireframes. Just grab a paper, create a wireframe where you are thinking what the core features are. Okay, this is where the user will enter, and this is what they're going to do. And if they tap on this, they go to this next screen. And if you're building a settings screen, what are the main pages you want in the settings screen, just so that you have the clarity on what are the features you want to build. So this would help you in building the app in the coding stage. Even in that sketch level or diagram low fidelity level, you will get stuck in the coding level. The output in code will not be great. This is from experience. Right, so I would always recommend doing basic wireframing. You will not have millions of downloads in the version 1, so don't worry about people using and coming back and saying a lot of things. There are a lot more steps in this process. So in V1, always focus on one problem you are solving and solve it very well. If you are a designer, then you might be using something like Figma or Sketch. So I use Figma. It is very easy to use. And if you don't know the design, you just have the wireframes you have drawn. So what you can do is you can use a tool called Stitch from Google. You upload your wireframes, prompt it saying that this is what my wireframes are and this is what I'm looking for. The Stitch will create a UI of that app. It won't be an exact UI what you're expecting, but what you can do is you can copy those design, paste it in Figma as a proper frame component, and you can then modify the copy, modify the buttons, whatever, however you like. So you can use Stitch as an intermediate between Figma and your wireframes, so that that initial process of creating the frame itself, right, you can skip. You can just use this and then come back and then you can copy and paste. I also run a design agency. I offer design services, so reach out to me if you have any queries, any questions. I'm gonna link a Calendly link. We can chat about your project. There is no commitment. You can just ask whatever you think about your project, and then I'll help you out. And it is no obligation call. It's completely free. Coding. If you have come up till design, then you have completed the 30% of that journey. Rest 20% is coding. If you don't know how to code, I would recommend just use Cursor. You have your designs from Figma, copy the screenshots from Figma, paste it in Cursor, and then start prompting it that this is what the app is about and this is my functionality. Before even starting the prompt process in Cursor, set up the project rules in Cursor. So go to Cursor settings. In Cursor settings, you'll get project rules. In project rules, you have to type in that, okay, these are the kind of rules you have to follow. Basically, we are saying Cursor that these are the parameters within which you have to operate. If you need project rule examples, go to this website, copy based on what your project is. If it's a web project and the kind of code you want, you can use that prompt. If it's an Android project, you have prompts. If an iOS project, you can use the prompts there. Paste it in project rules and then start prompting. So you start using Cursor, right? Rest of the process is easy. Basically, if you have a web app, then you are going to test it in your local host, which Cursor will automatically try to do. If you have a iOS app like what I'm showing in my environment right now, you can easily integrate it to your GitHub and it will start pushing the code. And there is a separate process in iOS to push it to App Store Connect, but it is not complicated. Once you have completed your app and if your build is successful, it is not an issue to push your app to the App Store. Hopefully, I've shared enough context to help you get started from your idea to MVP phase. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna share my cal.com link. If you're building, if you're stuck in any part of your process, just book a call with me and show me what you're trying to build, and I'll try to guide you as much as I can. And there is no cost to this. It's completely free. Thank you for watching the video. Appreciate it, and see you in the next one.